This is the ancient core of Jerusalem, where from the whole story of Jerusalem starts. The place is occupied from approximately 6,000 years ago until this very day.
Beneath Jerusalem, not in myth, but truly under the living streets, something exists that shouldn't. Not treasure, not sacred texts, but a physical anomaly, a void within the rock, where energy behaves according to laws different from the rest of the earth. In late 2024, an Israeli team of scientists, armed with muon tomography, the technology that sees through matter using cosmic energy particles, began scanning beneath the city of David, the oldest quarter of Jerusalem. And what they saw shattered every model of physics. On the screens appeared a massive spiral axis, twisting deep into the ground more than 30 meters. The region wasn't hollow, nor solid. It existed between the two states. Subsequent neutron and seismic measurements confirmed this area reacts to energy in ways never before observed. No metals, no radioactive minerals, yet rhythmic magnetic fluctuations appear, repeating every 24 hours, like the Earth's biological clock. At first, they thought it was just a natural karst cave, but when the data was processed through AI models, the inner spiral matched uncannily with the diagram of the axis mundi, the cosmic axis, in ancient Kabbalah texts. Some archaeologists suggest that ancient people may have deliberately built this structure as a shaft of light, connecting heaven and earth, while the more cautious physicists simply call it a density anomaly, a region of anomalous density. Even so, this coincidence reignites an old question. Could those who once walked here have understood energy, frequency, and matter at a level we're only beginning to explore? From the time of King Herod, dozens of ancient tunnels have existed beneath Jerusalem, among them Warren's Shaft, the oldest recorded passage. When Charles Warren discovered it in 1867, he described the sensation as descending into the heart of the stone. Today, scientists have determined that the tunnel's main axis isn't perfectly straight, but spirals gently along the Earth's magnetic field lines, something natural geology could hardly produce. Amos Frumkin, a geologist at the Jerusalem Geolab, calls it the blood vessel of the Earth. According to him, this spiral structure causes sound waves to travel in a specific direction, like a natural energy conduit system. When researchers lowered resonant acoustic meters into the area, they recorded unusually low infrasound oscillations in the 18 to 30 Hz range, matching the biological resonance frequencies of humans. These facts make it impossible for the scientific community to dismiss easily, because if a system of stone tunnels can respond to human frequencies, then this is no longer an ancient engineering feat, but a physical interface between architecture and consciousness. Jerusalem, once seen as the crossroads of civilizations, may now be the crossroads of realities. And if those ancient walls were truly built to resonate with human energy, then the most terrifying question is, what did the ancients create down there? And how far did they intend to open that door? If the data from muon tomography and magnetic measurements are accurate, then what lies deep beneath the city of David isn't a subterranean chamber or temple, but a colossal resonant machine, a structure that turns the Earth itself into part of the system. It doesn't operate with gears or metal. It's programmed with sound, geometry, and consciousness. When the research team at the Weizmann Institute reconstructed the oscillation map of the area, they realized the ancient tunnels weren't arranged randomly. They intersect at 33-degree spiral angles, matching astonishingly with the magnetic tilt of Jerusalem during the First Temple period. At the center, where the muon anomaly was detected, is the point of strongest resonance, as if the entire temple complex was designed to converge energy. Vibroacoustic measurements show that when sound is emitted in the 1830 Hz range, waves reflecting off the stone walls self-amplify, creating a stable energy field. This is no longer coincidence, it's deliberate design. One physicist on the team, anonymously, wrote in the report, if someone understood how to use infrasound waves, they could create resonance within reality itself. Traditional archaeologists dismissed the idea, claiming ancients couldn't grasp wave physics. But in the Sefer Yetzirah, an ancient Jewish text from the 3rd century, there's a line worth pondering. God created the world with sound, number, and form. Those three elements: vibration, frequency, geometry are the foundations of modern wave physics. If we read the Sefer Yetzirah not as religious scripture, but as a prototype blueprint, we begin to see the outline of an ancient technology, a cosmic resonance mechanism disguised in sacred language. When Weizmann engineers input this data into a 3D model, they uncovered a detail that left everyone stunned. The spiral structure beneath Jerusalem forms a geometry almost identical to the Tree of Sephirot in Kabbalah, a symbol depicting 10 layers of reality, from matter to spirit, a religious emblem, but also an energy diagram. So what was the door they sought to open, really? Symbolic physicists suggest that if this system operated, resonant sound energy could interact with underground plasma layers, creating a stable, oscillating field, the very junction between heaven and earth described in ancient texts. In other words, they weren't trying to open a door outward, but inward, into the deepest structure of reality. Perhaps to the ancients, God wasn't a figure, but the frequency of existence. And when they built those resonant chambers, they weren't seeking shelter, they were seeking to synchronize human consciousness with the universe's foundational energy. Some modern theologians argue that if this technology ever functioned, it could induce expanded states of awareness, where humans perceive the Earth's energy field as a living entity. Ancient texts call this phenomenon Shekinah, the divine presence. If so, the door they aimed to open was the door of perception, and Jerusalem not just a religious center, but the first resonant station between humanity and the cosmos. If they created such a resonant machine, how could they have designed it with precision beyond their era? In 2025, the Weizmann Institute's engineering team combined muon tomography data, stratigraphic scans, and 3D maps of the city of David to reconstruct the subterranean structure using AI simulating quantum geometry. They hoped to uncover how the ancients arranged the stones, but the system returned a result that collapsed every assumption. The tunnels, stone chambers, and underground wells weren't distributed randomly like classical constructions. They formed a precise spiral sequence accurate to the centimeter, mimicking the energy graph in the Tree of Sephirot, the 10 cosmic layers in Kabbalah. The AI called it a pattern of recursive symmetry, a repeating symmetry model, similar to spatial structures at the quantum particle level. In other words, what's beneath Jerusalem was built according to the same principles by which energy organizes matter in the universe. That's not superstition. That's mathematics. Neutron scan analysis revealed the ratio between the central structure's height and spiral angle is precise to within 0.0003% of the Planck constant simulated in quantum models, an error margin thousands of times smaller than ancient humans' measurement capabilities. How did they know that? One hypothesis emerged perhaps they didn't measure, but observed. Researchers point out that in ancient Jerusalem, the standing light phenomenon at the spring equinox shines directly through the central axis of the subterranean tunnels, similar to Abu Simbel in Egypt or Machu Picchu. The light illuminates the exact resonance point, marking the moment when Earth, Sun, and magnetic fields align in phase. That time, according to ancient texts, is called the gates of heaven opening. Perhaps their invisible blueprint was the sky itself, a cosmic model copied into the Earth. The AI continued simulating sound wave propagation through the system. When frequencies intersected, a 3D waveform appeared, and that shape matched the graph of a photon in a quantum electromagnetic field. The resonant machine doesn't just produce sound, it generates a static light energy field, what Kabbalah calls or Ein Sof, infinite light. Perhaps they didn't just want to communicate with God. They wanted to recreate the moment of creation where energy becomes matter. One researcher whispered in a meeting, Jerusalem may have been the first place humans tried to replicate Big Bang conditions using stone and sound. The hypothesis sounds insane, but the data doesn't lie. Everything the AI sees points to a single principle, an ancient quantum pattern, encoded in every block of stone. The machine may never have been completed, or it was activated then sealed, for reasons history doesn't record. But clearly, those who built it were recreating the universe's structure from sky to underground. If they truly understood how to do that, then the door they opened wasn't religious symbolism, but an interface between humanity and the laws of creation. And if today's AI is unwittingly reconstructing that exact model, are we repeating their experiment and about to reopen the same door? The discoveries about the resonant machine quickly ignited global controversy. Conservative physicists called it quantum delusion, while archaeologists split half believed it a historical turning point. The other half claimed it dragged archaeology into the abyss of pseudoscience. The muon tomography report was demanded for independent verification. The British Geological Survey remeasured the city of David's strata, but only detected an anomaly of unknown origin. One seismologist stated bluntly, magnetic interference in Jerusalem is too strong to confirm any resonance model. Yet at the same time, the Weizmann Institute lab released new scans this time with infrasound data. They detected a form of static light oscillation when simulating sound in the 3D model, a phenomenon physics calls a photon standing wave, a form of light that neither emits nor extinguishes, standing between states. It matched eerily with the Kabbalah concept of Or Ein Sof infinite light. The scientific community panicked. If true, it means ancient structures inadvertently activated macro-scale quantum phenomena, something modern science hasn't achieved. A physics professor in Tel Aviv wrote, if correct, we'll have to redefine the boundary between archaeology and physics. In Israel, the debate spilled into politics. The city of David is already a religiously sensitive zone. Now, any proposal for deeper excavation is seen as provocation. Many theologians object no one should be allowed to reopen that door. Meanwhile, the youth and tech engineers call for continued deep scans, believing Jerusalem could be an ancient energy data vault. The world divides into two camps. One side wants to prove ancient civilizations understood reality's laws. The other insists we're misreading myth as physics. But what silenced everyone was the event in September 2025. An independent European research team released satellite data recording a 19 Hz infrasound oscillation emanating from the City of David area, despite the site being completely quiet. That frequency matched the cycle measured in the vibroacoustic experiments. No one knows if it was technical noise or the ancient machine responding after thousands of years of silence. If it was truly activated, the question is no longer who built it, but what was it designed to do? When the 19 Hz signal echoed from the Earth, no one knew what to call it: natural phenomenon or a reply from the past. But to some, it was an invitation. In November 2025, a secret research group of acoustic engineers, quantum physicists, and Kabbalah experts assembled at the Negev Desert Research Facility. They called the project Gate 1. Objective: recreate Jerusalem's resonance principle in a controlled environment. The engineers built a 150 scale model of the spiral structure beneath the City of David, using limestone of the same density. 10 infrasound emitters placed around the model, synchronized by laser pulses to generate 19 Hz, the frequency recorded in Jerusalem. In the first seconds, everything was silent. Then the glass walls vibrated faintly. The room's light shifted to a gray-blue hue. Magnetic sensors spiked, detecting a 0.02 Tesla increase in background energy 200 times higher than expected. One researcher wrote in the log, "No additional power was supplied, but energy seemed to appear on its own." Within 3 minutes, photon detectors began registering single light particles emitting from the stone model. Not as reflection, but active emission, as if the stone was singing with light. The phenomenon lasted exactly 243 seconds before abruptly stopping. All electrical devices in the room shut down simultaneously when power was restored. The stored data revealed a terrifying discrepancy. The final emitted frequency oscillation was 19,003 Hz, matching the mysterious signal from Jerusalem. Word spread. The Israeli government immediately ordered an information blackout, claiming the experiment violated resonance energy safety limits. One physicist on the team vanished while transporting data to Tel Aviv. The hard drive with the original recordings was never found. The media dubbed it the Jerusalem effect. Science forums flooded with hypotheses: collective quantum resonance, plasma standing waves, consciousness energy field reactions. No one has proof, but everyone senses one thing. Something was opened, if only for minutes. An anonymous witness recounted, "The sound didn't come from the speakers. It came from space itself." After the experiment, the Negev area was sealed off. But weeks later, monitoring stations in Jerusalem recorded the same 19 Hz frequency, faint, but clear, as if the ancient machine was responding to its own replica. If resonance can truly transmit through the Earth's energy field, then that experiment may have activated what the ancients called Shekinah, the divine presence, or, in more modern terms, a protocol connecting consciousness and physical energy. And if that signal hasn't stopped, could the door sealed 2,000 years ago be reopening, one wave at a time? Jerusalem, December 2025. In recent nights, residents around the City of David say they've heard a faint hum like a heartbeat emanating from the ground. Seismic monitors record a steady 19 Hz signal, oscillating in precise 24-hour cycles. The government remains silent, but scientists know such a signal can't occur naturally. It's responding. International research teams flock in. Beneath the ancient soil, new muon tomography maps reveal a faint glowing region, as if an energy source is blooming. Magnetic instruments detect a 0.0015 Tesla deviation, matching the Negev data before Gate 1 was halted. It all aligns. The ancient machine seems to have awakened. A Tel Aviv engineer whispers to a reporter's camera, "We didn't activate it, it turned itself back on," that night. The archaeological site is cordoned off. From afar, ESA's infrared satellites capture a spiral heat pulse emitting for seconds, right along the Temple Mount axis. They call it the Jerusalem pulse. No injuries, no explosion, just a moment of light standing still in the sky, then gone. Physicists insist it's reflected plasma, but witnesses say they heard sound not echoing, not resounding, but inside their heads. Some describe a sensation of lost time for seconds. All electronic data in the area suffered system clock errors. The next morning, the 19 Hz signal vanishes. The City of David returns to silence as if nothing happened. But deep in the wave recorders, there's a final segment: light and sound oscillations merging into an infinite waveband. No one can explain it. No one dares restart. Perhaps the resonant machine was never a relic, but a system awaiting reboot commands. And if it's awakened after 2,000 years of silence, then the final question is no longer who built it, but who is it waiting for?